We are live.
Some from friends and some from our...
Okay. So we are live.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Well, Sabrina Carpenter, welcome to TopMagazine. We are so glad for having you here today.
Thank you.
Well, this is your second time in Brazil, right? You were here 2 years ago, I think?
Yeah, almost 2 years ago.
Almost 2 years. Okay, so how is it different this time around for you?
This time I'm here a little bit longer, and I've kind of gotten to like get out and explore a little bit more than I did the last time I was here. Last time I was here, I was kind of in and out performing very quickly, and this time I'm getting to see a little bit more. But also, I don't know, I feel like the more I come to any place, I kind of get a little bit more familiar with the people and the culture, and just I love it here so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, of the things you've seen in Brazil, what was the one that had the strongest impact on you, that impressed you the most?
I think it was the crowds. I think so far performing here, and a lot of the crowds that I see my friends performing in Brazil, they're just so big and so passionate, so energetic and full of life. And I think that's like every artist's dream, is kind of to perform for crowds that give you the energy that you hope to give them.
Do you have like a favorite spot in Brazil or some place you like to go?
I'm not that much of a local yet. You'll have to tell me the cool places. I went to Starbucks yesterday.
Okay.
Crazy. No, I need to know like where the cool places are to go and visit, especially in Sao Paulo. I feel like in Rio, I got to go to like a couple more of like the more.
You have to go to
touristy thing.
Beco do Batman.
Yeah,
It's like
I need to
you
go.
have these paintings. Walls.
Where's that?
It's Vila Madalena. You have to.
We should go there. Okay.
Right. Well, and about the fans here in Brazil, they love your music.
Thank you.
How does it feel to know that Singular has been so well received and praised worldwide, and also to have an impact on so many people's lives?
Thank you. I feel like we're always so focused on what we're doing, in our work and in creating things, that sometimes you forget to like take a second and see that, your fans love what you're doing, and they have like received what you're doing well. And I think that every time like someone says that to me, I always am like, oh wow, that's really nice, because sometimes I don't think about it because I'm so focused on creating the next thing or traveling. But I think for me, like I was honest with myself and I was honest with them, and so whenever that resonates, it's a really special feeling, because it means like we all just get a little bit closer with each other.
Well, Singular Act 1 was the first project in which you co-wrote every single track. So can you tell us a little bit how challenging it was for you?
It wasn't really challenging, because I think the reason why it was the first project where I co-wrote every song was just because writing became a part of my everyday life. So it didn't feel like there was a song that would have fit on that album that didn't come from one of my life experiences, if that makes sense, because they all came from a place of something that I experienced and something that I went through, or something I was feeling, and I just had so much fun getting to be able to tell those stories and getting to be able to like experiment with different genres and different sounds and the people I was working with. I was writing all over the world for that part of the album, so really it was just kind of a natural progression for me, and I think it's also made my fans feel like a little closer to me, because they know that they're listening to stories that have come from my everyday life, and they're able to kind of relate to those in their own way.
Do you have like a favorite song in this album?
I have a lot of favorites. That's why there's 8. Like, first of all, there's only 8 songs on
Okay.
Act 1, and it's because they're all like my favorites for different reasons. I think there are days where Bad Time is my favorite. There's days where Mona Lisa is my favorite. Days where Paris. It depends on the mood that I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and does it feel different when you go on stage every night, almost every night, and perform a song that you have written in comparison to another song that you haven't?
I've always been pretty conscious from the beginning of when I started making music to only do things that I felt a connection to. So even if it was a song that I didn't write, if I was able to kind of, rewrite parts to feel more like myself, or if I just really connected with the lyrics or wish that it was a song that I had written, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, just as much as I don't think there's anything wrong with writing my songs, because I do feel like, obviously, when it does come from me and it comes from my heart, it translates a little better to not just my fans, but people that maybe aren't fans. So I think I try to keep an open mind when it comes to music, because I think there really shouldn't be any rules or limitations with music. It's just supposed to feel right in that moment.
Right. Well, and do you think it's possible to pinpoint a song and say this is the most personal song for me, and which one it would be nowadays?
Well, for me, I have a song coming out very soon that I started performing on tour and just started singing for Act 2. It's called Exhale. My fans have really, I think, held on to that song and kind of turned it into theirs, which I really love. But that was a very personal song for me, and very hard to sing, actually. I never really experienced having a song before that was like hard to sing live, because I get really emotional. So I guess that one would have to be the most personal song of mine so far.
All right. Well, now that you have taken this path of being part of the writing process, I was wondering which are some of your favorite artists in terms of wordplay and lyrics. Who do you look up to?
In terms of wordplay and lyrics?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. I think Lorde is an incredible lyricist. I think she's someone that I always looked up to, and just like also musically, she's just such her own thing. She's in her own lane. There's so many people with incredible lyrics that I love. Who was I listening to? Lex Orange County has a great way with words. I mean, there's a lot of people. Taylor Swift, I mean, was one of my first songwriting inspirations when I was around 8 years old. Because I think that there's some songwriters that are very metaphorical and their lyrics are very complex and they make you think, and then there's other songwriters that are able to make something so simple that we all feel all the time and word it in a way that you go, oh, how could I not have worded it that way? It's so simple. And it just opens your eyes in a way. So I'm working on it. I'm hoping to grow and get better. So I just try to listen to as much music as I can.
Mm-hmm. Well, how do you balance the demands of your singing and acting career? You have a movie coming out, right?
Yes, I do. I had a movie come out a couple months ago, and I have another one coming out. Actually, I have 2 coming out this year, I think. I'm trying to keep track. And I'm working on starting another one soon. It's, I think for me the balance is just like, it's the same with music. It's whenever I feel an organic, authentic connection to something, and also something that I feel will be, I guess, a contribution to the world in some sort of positive way, or get across some sort of message that I can't in my own music. But for me, at the end of the day, like, music never leaves my side. It's always with me.
You started your career in Girl Meets World in Disney Channel, right?
Well,
no, your acting career.
Acting career. Yeah, I would say that was my breakout role.
Okay, how was the experience to be in this show?
It was amazing. I mean, any time that you can be, I guess, on a professional set and you're that young, you learn so much and you take in so much. And I was lucky I was working with a lot of really intelligent and creatively stimulating people. I was in a great, loving environment. But honestly, like, every project that I've done has taught me something different, and obviously has given me, like, fulfillment in a way that other things can't. So that was a great experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have some questions here that were sent by fans over the last few days. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay, what was the best life advice that you ever got from someone? This is from Katia, São Paulo.
Life advice that I ever got from someone?
Yeah.
I think probably to not overthink things. And it's advice that is very hard to take, especially when you have, like, when you're a Taurus, like me, and you just kind of are constantly thinking through things. But I think that is pretty good advice.
Right. This is from my niece, Isabel, from Santa Catarina. She's a big fan of you. How was it working in Girls Meets World? Your character was a strong girl who endured a lot of things. How how did that impact your life? Did it help you to become stronger as well?
Yeah, I think a combination of the roles that I've played and the music that I've written over the past 19 years has all culminated, me being who I am today, and obviously has helped, my confidence and my strength, and has also helped me in my weaker moments. So I definitely think playing that character was one of the most fun experiences I've ever had in my life, for sure.
We have some questions here too. What was the most challenging part of starting your career so early in life? How you deal with rejections and critics?
Oof, I don't. I just ignore. No, what was I think the thing about starting early for me is I don't think I felt like I was starting early. I thought that I had a late start because I started around 11. And most people, a lot of my friends all started when they were 2. So, I don't know, I think it was just always something that I was drawn to and knew that I was going to do. Of course, you can never, tell the future, but I had a pretty strong sense as a child that it's what I wanted to do.
They're asking to if you, let me see 1 second. 3 words to define yourself.
I don't want to.
It's difficult, right?
Those are 3 words. I don't want to. I think defining yourself is pointless because it'll change tomorrow. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think it's I don't know, it's something that we all made up, I guess collectively, that we have to have 3 strong traits or things about ourselves that stand out, but I think we're constantly evolving and changing, that tomorrow I'll be pretty different than today and the next day. But I think I'm just, I try to stay positive as much as I can.
Great. Well, how is your personal relationship to social media? Do you go online and read comments and all that? How is that for you? Because you have over 60 million of Instagram followers. How does it impact on your life?
It doesn't after you after you just forget about it. You know what I mean? Once it's there, you're kind of just living normally, and just I post whatever feels interesting to me, and I like to obviously post about the places that I go because I know my fans feel connected if I'm in a place that's their home, or I just I use social media now as more of a tool to connect with them than I do a way to wind down, because I don't think for me it winds me up more than winds me down. So yeah, I try to balance living through my eyes and through my phone.
What would you say to a fan that wants to pursue music but is insecure about it?
I think it takes a lot of security. So I will say I think it's just a matter of getting comfortable with yourself and getting to know yourself and getting to know your strengths and your weaknesses and kind of accepting both. Because everybody, even the best people, have weaknesses as well as strengths. So I think it's just going into it knowing that, once you realize that sometimes your weaknesses can also propel you forward, it won't be so hard. And I think it's just a matter of perseverance and knowing that not everybody is going to like you, no matter what you do.
Okay. Emmanuel from Belo Horizonte asks, I see you really like fashion. How would you define your style? Who are your favorite stylists? What do you take into your consideration when you choose your daily clothes?
I try to choose pieces, if they're not just simple basic pieces that are I have a lot of vintage dad jeans and oversized blazers and staple pieces. But then I also when I'm dressing up for performances or red carpets, I try to just find things that feel when am I ever going to wear this again? You know what I mean? Because I like feeling like I'm in something that's one of a kind. I think fashion is a great way to be able to feel super comfortable in your own skin. So I try to experiment and have fun with it. But I would describe my own personal style as always wearing my dad's clothes.
What are your beauty secrets?
Secrets?
Yeah,
pretty keep secrets. Sometimes to exfoliate my lips, I brush them with a toothbrush.
Does it work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just to get dry skin off your lips. I'm always traveling, and I'm always in planes, and planes just suck all the energy out try to like exfoliate, do a lot of like face masks and things like that.
Are you excited to see your Brazilian fans?
Yes! I've seen a couple of them so far. They're so cute and so sweet.
What is your favorite part of meeting your fans?
I think for me, it's like this instant like knowingness.
Okay.
Like you meet someone and you feel like you've known them your whole life. You know, there's no sense of like when you're meeting someone for the first time. It's like, you know, it's like can be awkward. There's never that with me with them. It's a very much like a love fest, and I think that's always a very warm feeling.
Well, Sabrina, inside you, do you feel like something changed when you changed television for performing live?
Say that one more time. Like, what do you mean?
When you changed television, acting television for performing live shows.
Show?
Yeah.
I think creating live shows is one of the most fun things because I truly feel like it's like live performance is something that I will never get tired of because it's all real and it's all in front of you. You can't take anything back. You can't redo anything or edit anything. So there's something about it that just makes you kind of want to leave it all on a stage, which I think is really beautiful and something that I try to keep in mind when I'm writing my songs as well. Is like, how are these going to translate? Why am I Australian? Translate in front of a crowd, and is going to resonate with a bigger crowd of people. Well, you've been a Disney star growing up, and your audience has grown up with you. So, have you ever thought about it? How much incredible it is? How does it feel to have your audience growing up with you, and you just have more and more people getting more fans with your music? It's really special when like you can see someone that you met when you were 15 and then see them when you're 20 and you're both, going through life together and you're in different phases of your life and, through the different tours that I've done. My fans are the most diehard, committed, like, people that I've ever met in my life. And like I said, there's a really special relationship there because I think when you grow with people, you're seeing the ups, you're seeing the downs, and when you stick through, all those things with people, it's a very strong, special relationship. So I'm very lucky, but I also the more that it grows and the more that I see new faces, it's also just very eye-opening to me and I don't take it for granted.
We have an interesting question here. Do you remember how you felt the first time you were on a stage?
Oh my gosh. Just like I didn't want to leave, to be honest. And every time I'm not on a stage and I'm watching someone else on stage, I get this raging jealousy of like wanting to be on that stage. So I always know that like as long as I still have that, I'm in a good place. But I was probably in kindergarten and I was in my school talent show singing, and I just was like, don't let me get off this stage. Yeah.
Wow. Danielle asks, what have you been reading, watching, and listening lately?
Wow, I've been reading. I've been reading a collection of things. I've been rereading a lot of Ayn Rand books, and I've been watching The Act. It's a Hulu show starring my friend Joey King. And then listening. I listen to everything. I've been listening to a lot of Anderson .Paak recently. I've been listening to, oh my gosh, so much. I've been listening to Rosalia. I've been listening to Blackpink. I've been listening to Anita. Yeah, like a lot of international artists I've been really into recently because I just feel like the sounds that I hear from them are just so different than what I'm hearing every day in the US.
Well, Valentina wants to know which singers have inspired you the most lately, and who is your celebrity crush?
Ooh, which singers have inspired me most lately? I don't know, actually. I feel like there's a lot of singers that have inspired me in my lifetime, but I don't know about lately. I feel like lately I've been kind of more inspired by the places that I've been, the different, cities that I've been to, and people that I'll meet within those cities, not necessarily other singers. But I'm still a big fan of a lot of other singers and artists. And then my celebrity crush, ooh. I've had this question since I was a young little girl, and every time I never know how to answer it because I don't know. Like, there's never been like a. Give me an example. Like Rihanna.
Rihanna.
Like Rihanna's my celebrity crush till the end of time. Is that a good answer?
So your fans want to know if you're bringing your singular act tour to Brazil.
That is my plan. I'm working on it as we speak. But I'm also super lucky that I got to come this trip for a couple days and just get to like spend time with them and see them before I do come back and perform, which will be very soon.
You have a lot of fans here, so
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, my niece would kill me if I didn't ask you this. What can Brazilian fans can expect from Sabrina Carpenter this year?
Well, hopefully to come back to Brazil, eat a lot more brigadeiro, and what else can they expect? A lot more music, some new movies coming. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't even mentally prepared myself yet. A lot coming, especially for Brazil.
Wow. You have more questions here?
They're telling about your style. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Have you learned some, I don't know how you say gíria, slangs in Brazil? Brazilian slangs?
Nope.
No?
Can you teach me one?
Which words you know in Portuguese? Could you repeat here? What do you say?
Eu te amo.
Eu te amo.
Eu te amo. Obrigada. Como vai? Tudo bem?
Tudo bem?
Tudo bem? Tudo bem? Yep, that's it. That's kind of
great.
it.
Karen from Porto Alegre. Most of time, do you get inspired by facts or imagination when you are writing?
Oh. It's a balance. It's a balance of, I think the base comes from facts and the base comes from like a feeling, and then I think there's ways to use your imagination to help the story evolve in a way. Because sometimes in life things happen and you want them to be more exciting than they actually were. And that's the great thing about songwriting is you can kind of just tell a story however you imagine it, and from your point of view, how it happened. Sometimes it's nice to explore songwriting from other people's point of view, which I really like to. I just like that there's no rules. There's not a lot of things out there that like you could do without having restrictions. I think songwriting is one of those things.
Well, talking about restrictions, what is your daily diet like today?
Literally brigadeiro and water and espresso.
How do you like brigadeiro?
I love it. I'm not just saying that to like have people be like, brigadeiro. Like I really love brigadeiro. It's so good.
Have you tried coxinha?
No, what is that?
Oh, coxinha is
It's like a fried like chicken, and there is duff around it.
There's what?
It's like this. Yes, it's like this. I will buy some for you.
Okay. I got some mango.
And pão de queijo.
Pão de queijo, yes.
What's that?
Cheese bread.
Cheese
Oh, I've had that. I've had the cheese bread, yes.
Yeah. Tem mais alguma aí? Senão a gente vai... People want to hear you singing.
Will you sing a little bit for us?
And what?
I don't know.
Oh
What
my god.
Anything.
Only if you want to. Mais perguntas aí? Ou senão a gente já vai...
Pode ir, acho que pode ir.
What is love for you?
Oh god! Well, that was a great interview, everybody. What is love? I will let you know in a couple years. Hopefully a couple years. I don't wanna put a definition on it. I think it's something you don't have to question. You know, you just feel it. And I don't really know how else to describe it other than that. I think you know in certain moments, whether it be towards a person, whether it be towards something, whether it just be like a moment in your life that you're feeling it. But I do think it's around us a lot more often than we know it is. exists differently for everybody.
Have you feel it?
Have I felt it? Yes, in different ways. Yeah, a lot. I'm very loving. Like, I love a lot, and I try to love as much as I possibly can, because I feel like that is where I feel like I'm living life the right way. You know, whether you're in love with what you're doing, you're in love with the people that you're surrounded by. I think it's just a much warmer feeling, and it's very contagious.
Right. Can you name some, just to end up, can you name some turning points in your life and career that changed the way you see the world?
I think in a weird way, which I didn't think it would do much for me, but I think when I turned 18, I started traveling a lot more than I ever had before. I saw a lot more of the world. I started just like talking to people a lot more and just having longer conversations with people, whether that be my closest friends, whether that be strangers. And I think the more that you get to know other people's like minds and the way that they think, it opens up your mind to a lot more possibility and a lot more, I think, I'm trying to end this properly. I think it's just very helpful to be able to communicate with people, and I think that has helped me grow a lot in my life over the past 2 years.
What's your biggest dream right now?
My biggest dream?
Yes.
Eating burger.
Cats or dogs?
Just kidding. I feel like I didn't answer that question right, so just skip that one. Cats or dogs? That's hard, because I used to have cats, but now I have a dog. So both. I love both.
Okay. So could you just leave a message for our audience?
Brazilian fans?
Brazilian fans, yeah.
To all my Brazilian fans, eu te amo. Obrigada. Teach me more words. I look forward to my very first show here in Brazil, coming very soon. I can't wait to see all of you there. And I just want to thank you for your extensive, eternal love over the past few years of my life. Even though this is only my second time here, I feel like I've known you guys my whole life. And I can't wait to do more with you, and I can't wait for you guys to hear what's next coming.
Thank you.
Thank you
guys
so much.
What's
It was
my
a
biggest
pleasure.
dream? That's a crazy question. Almost as hard as what is love? Jeez.
Pode. Ok.
Obrigada.